Hey family, what's good? This is your girl, I'm the Bronze Goddess, and it's time for another strawberry letter. Before I get into today's video, I want to remind you guys to check out my book. It's called The Dating Game, How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. It's on CreateSpace, Amazon, and you can also download it in Kindle. I'll be sure to link my book at the top of the description box. Be sure to read the reviews. It's definitely a book worth reading. And without any further ado, let's get started with today's letter. Let's go get 'em. I would really like your advice on my situation. My husband and I have been married for 4 years. I'm now 26 and he's 35. He's been married before and the last marriage lasted 5 years. Before we got married, we talked about what went wrong in his first marriage. All the blame went to the ex-wife mainly because she cheated on him and ended up pregnant while still married. We talked about why they never had children after 5 years of marriage, and he said because she was always unsure and depressed. They went through a period of back and forth about the baby making topic, and it just never happened. After our wedding at the hotel, he was unable to perform. Told me he was extremely tired after all the stress of the wedding. I found it strange, but I understood. I'm going to self-edit this part because I'm going to clean it up a little bit. This is a family show. They had a 2-week honeymoon, and they were only intimate twice, and both times she left unfulfilled. I'll say it like that. After 2 months, I asked what was wrong, if he wasn't attracted to me anymore, and all these sorts of normal questions that a woman would ask in a situation like this. He reassured me that it had nothing to do with me, that he still found me attractive and all. I asked him to have this issue, had he had this issue with his previous relationship, and he said no. So I asked him kindly to see a doctor, and he didn't want to go, but I forced him and he went. His doctor prescribed Viagra. I was devastated. I couldn't believe that. Being a very understanding, patient, and caring person that I was, I decided to support him during a time like this. So we went and we tried to work it out. It never got better and still hasn't. A year passed and I went off of all of my preventions, got myself to a doctor, checked myself, started working out, eating clean, keeping track of my ovulation. 6 months later, nothing. No signs of pregnancy, no nothing. We talked about it. He acted all confused and told me that this kind of stuff takes time. And I knew it did too, but I didn't want to wait on time. My woman's intuition wouldn't let me sleep on it, so I had him checked out. And it came out that he has a low sperm count and low motility. I was speechless and heartbroken, devastated by the news. I felt my whole world crashing. I couldn't believe the reality that was in front of my face, and at the time I was only 23 years old. I didn't even know what to do, and I didn't know who to turn to. Should I talk to my mom, my trusted friends about this? I was so ashamed of the situation. I'm gonna have to summarize it because y'all can tell this one is really, really long. So anyway, her husband was like, it's really no big deal. We'll just go through in vitro fertilization. So they did try in vitro twice, and it was unsuccessful both times. She said it was extremely expensive and stressful and all of that. She talked to her husband about it, and he says that he didn't know all this stuff ahead of time, but she feels like the whole marriage was based on a lie, and she's very devastated. She said she's always done the right thing. Before they got married, they abstained from sex for a year before they got married. She said she's always done the right thing. She's always been mindful. She doesn't understand how God would let her be in a situation like this with a sexless marriage, with a man who can't give her the family that she always wanted, and she's frustrated and she's upset, and she wants to know what she should do. Now, I'm going to tell you, honestly, after reading your letter, I feel like your husband did know. I feel like your suspicions about that may be correct. I feel like he did know. Honestly, I even feel like that's the reason why the relationship with the ex didn't work out. I feel like he was the same thing, you know, not being intimate with her, not giving her much attention and all of that. Maybe she did want a child. And the writer also says, I forgot to mention this part, the writer also wants to know if it's okay for her to reach out to the ex-wife to talk about it, to find out for sure if in fact this was the same situation that she went through with her now husband. Did they have problems with intimacy? Did he know that he was going to have issues getting someone pregnant? She wants to know if it's okay for her to reach out to the ex-wife. Honestly, like I said, I feel like your husband knew, and I do feel like that's the situation that happened with them, but I'm not a big fan of inviting a third party into a marriage. That ex has nothing to do with your current relationship. They didn't have any children, so that bond has been cleanly broken. I wouldn't suggest inviting her into your relationship, talking about intimate details of your marriage with her. I understand that you want closure, you want a definitive answer, you want to know for sure, did he know? I feel like you need to follow your intuition on that, and also to pray about it. Honestly, I feel like your husband knew that he was going to have issues having a child, and he knew that having a younger wife like yourself, who I'm sure probably made it clear to him that you wanted to have children, he probably didn't think you would marry him if you knew he couldn't have children. I don't think that it was fair. I don't think that it was honest, but I think that's what happened. And I feel like he didn't think that he would be enough for you. So he married you and then he tried to act all surprised. Because to me, that makes sense. Why after 5 years he didn't have children with the other woman, and that he knew that she was cheating when she got pregnant with another man's baby. But here's the thing. You have to decide for yourself what this means to you. Is this a deal breaker for you? Because if you love your husband and you're willing to work out the issues of intimacy with him, and if you are willing to forgive him for this lie, like I said, this is all on you. If you are willing to get past all of this, there's other ways for you to have children. There's so many kids out here who need love. Have you considered adoption? Is adoption a viable option for the both of you? I think that if you're going to move forward, though, you're going to need your husband to come clean. And I feel like he's not being fully honest with you. He's not being attentive. I feel like as a man, one of the things that a man is known for is being able to produce. Men produce, I think, millions of sperm. So for a man to be fertile and to be able to have children, that's a part of being a man. We as women, we only have one egg that we release a month, but men, millions of sperm. So as a man, I feel like he feels like it's messing with his manhood not to be able to give his wife a baby. Especially with the situation where there's X in the back of his mind that she got pregnant by somebody else. This is not a situation where you can selectively decide that you're going to leave things out. There are lies by omission as well. Even if he just suspected that he was infertile, he should have let that be known to you. And the fact that you guys weren't intimate and you were trying to do the right thing and you guys were abstaining from sex a year before even getting married and all that, like you did the right thing, that kind of hid his issue. He was probably happy to hear that. I think he knew about his low sex drive and he knew about his low sperm motility, and you being the good girl that you were, it helped him to be able to camouflage that. And I feel bad for you because, like you said in the letter, I'm a good Christian person. I try to do the right thing. I don't understand why God would allow this to happen. I will say this: the devil is like a jealous ex-boyfriend. He's not happy to see you doing the right thing. He doesn't want to see you with somebody else. He is the biggest hater ever created. He is a hater. Seeing you happy, seeing you try to do the right thing, just because you're a Christian doesn't mean the devil will stop fighting you. That's the reason why I wanted to do your letter. Because I know that whether this is a relationship video or not, somebody needed to hear this. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean the devil is going to leave you alone. Sometimes it puts a big bullseye on your back. I know that God wins in the end. This is a fixed fight. That's why I'm always able to stay positive, because I know who's in my corner. So I feel like you should definitely pray about this situation, ask God what he would have you to do, and you and your husband have to sit down and talk about this. If you're willing to work this out, he has to come clean and he has to do more work. There isn't enough effort on his part. He's not being attentive to you. He's not giving you any intimacy that you crave. He was prescribed the Viagra. It doesn't sound like he's actively using it. This is a sexless relationship, a sexless marriage. And I think all of this stems from the fact that your husband needs to talk to somebody about this issue. I feel like it's taking a toll on his self-esteem and maybe taking a toll on his self-worth. And as his wife, you can support him on that, but he has to be honest. He has to be honest for any of this to work out. He has to tell you the truth. I know you may not have been diagnosed with being infertile, but did the doctor ever tell you that? Did you ever suspect that? Tell me the truth. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. He has to acknowledge that, yeah, I suspected that I wasn't able to have kids. He needs to apologize for that. I'm sorry that I lied to you. And you guys need to work together on what options you have. I feel like he knows more than what he's telling you. I don't think that you should go out to the ex-wife and find out what's going on. I don't think you should invite this third party into your marriage, because I feel like that's opening Pandora's box. That relationship is closed. Don't try to open it back up. I feel like she knows a lot. I feel like she'll be able to enlighten your situation, but so can God. You don't have to be messy to get the truth. Sometimes you just have to be prayerful to get it. Ask God to reveal to you. Ask God to touch his heart to be honest with you and be open about what happened. And you have to make the decision what you want to do from there. I do feel like your relationship is based on a lie. Can it be fixed? Only with truth and God. Only with him being willing to be vulnerable. I think that he needs to seek counseling about this issue. I think it has messed with his manhood. It has messed with his confidence, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a man who is broken because he knows that he cannot give his young wife the one thing that you want, which is a family with him. I honestly, at the core of my being, I feel like he knew. I feel like he knew, and I feel like that was the reason why his relationship with his last wife didn't work out. He can say that she cheated, but why did she cheat? Does he know why she cheated? Yeah, she cheated and she got pregnant by the man that she cheated with, but did he do anything? Was it because he wasn't having sex with her? And if that's the case, did he go years without having sex with his own wife? Did she have the same concerns that you have? Did she think that he was cheating because he wasn't being intimate with her? Did she cheat because she wanted a baby and he couldn't give her one? I feel like he could shed so much light on this situation. I would pray and ask God to touch his heart, to be honest with me and put all the cards out on the table. Without knowing everything, it's kind of hard for you to know what your next move is. So I would pray for the truth to come out, and for every skeleton that he has to come tumbling out of the closet. And if you want to hear more of my advice on love, dating, and relationships, be sure to check out my book, The Dating Game: How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. It's on CreateSpace, Amazon, and downloadable in Kindle. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Till next time, later divas and dudes. Deuces, honey.